In the glittering, high-stakes canyons of the corporate world, shadows often hold more power than the spotlight. Grant Holloway, the interim CEO, believes his dominance is absolute, strutting through the glass tower like a king on a chessboard, blinded by his own reflection. He does not see Oliver Keene, the night janitor scrubbing the marble floors, as anything more than debris to be stepped over in his rush to the top. He certainly doesn't suspect that Oliver is the architect of a silence that is about to scream, hiding a legacy that could topple the entire empire. Marisol Vance, an executive assistant clinging to her integrity, watches the cruelty unfold with a sinking heart, unaware that her smallest act of kindness has just altered the trajectory of billions of dollars. But in the mailroom, a sealed envelope containing the board contract waits, a document that proves even the mightiest towers are built on fragile ground. Watch closely. The camera is rolling. Don't look away. The heavy, galvanized bucket tips precariously, sending a cascade of murky water sloshing. It spreads across the pristine, Italian-imported marble floor in a slow-motion disaster. Oliver Keene freezes, his hands gripping the wooden mop handle as the liquid expands. The polished leather shoes of the executive team approach rapidly. Clicking on the stone. Grant Holloway does not break his stride or check his speed for a second. A collision of worlds sends the dirty gray water splashing upward onto expensive fabric. It stains the CEO's custom trousers and soaks the hem of Oliver's worn uniform. Grant stops dead, and the entire lobby falls into a terrified, suffocating silence. He looks down, not with anger but with a chilling, detached amusement that is worse. Clean it up, Grant whispers, his voice carrying effortlessly through the cavernous space. He kicks the bucket over completely, adding insult to the injury of the moment. Oliver grips the mop handle until his knuckles turn white from the suppressed strain. He bows his head, hiding eyes that burn with a cold, intelligent fire. Do you think silence is always a sign of submission in the face of power? The entourage behind Grant watches with bated breath, unsure whether to laugh or look away. This is the daily theater of the corporate world, where dignity is the first casualty. Oliver drops to his knees, placing a rag into the spreading puddle of gray water. He can feel the heat of a dozen eyes burning into his bent back, but he does not apologize, for he knows that an apology would be a lie. He simply begins to work, absorbing the cruelty like a sponge absorbs the spill. Have you ever had to swallow your pride just to survive another day? Marisol Vance stands near the reception desk, clutching her tablet like a shield. She sees the way Grant sneers, enjoying the spectacle of another man's degradation. Her heart hammers against her ribs, a mix of empathy and paralyzed fear taking hold. She wants to shout, to intervene, to stop the unnecessary display of dominance, but she knows that speaking up could cost her the job she desperately needs. So she watches, becoming a silent witness to a scene that will haunt her. Is watching an injustice without acting the same as participating in it. The water seeps into the knees of Oliver's pants, cold and uncomfortable against his skin. He focuses on the rhythm of the cleaning, blocking out the expensive suits above him. He remembers a time when he wore suits like that, perhaps even better ones. The memory is a sharp shard of glass in his mind, painful but grounding. He knows something that Grant Holloway does not. A secret buried in paper. The man on the floor is not who he appears to be to the world, but for now, the disguise must remain intact to protect the ultimate goal. Grant steps over Oliver's hand, missing his fingers by a mere fraction of an inch. It is a deliberate move, a physical assertion of his place in the hierarchy. Make sure it sparkles. He tosses back over his shoulder, walking toward the elevators. The glass doors slide open, swallowing the powerful men into their ivory tower. Oliver remains on the floor, the echo of their footsteps fading into the hum. He wrings out the rag, the dirty water twisting into the bucket with force. How long can a man hold his breath before he is forced to scream? The lobby is empty now, save for the janitor and the silent receptionist. The spill is gone, but the stain on the atmosphere remains heavy and thick. Oliver stands up, his knees cracking slightly from the cold hard floor. He catches Marisol's eye for a brief second, sharing a look of shared burden. He nods once, a tiny gesture of acknowledgement that speaks volumes. In the quiet she looks down, ashamed of her silence, unaware that he doesn't blame her, but the first test of character has been failed by the powerful today. Laughter erupts from the entourage like a sudden, sharp weapon piercing the quiet air. They mimic Grant's sneer, eager to please the man currently holding the checkbook. High above in the ceiling corners, the security cameras hum quietly, rotating slowly. The red recording lights blink in a steady, unblinking rhythm, capturing every frame. Marisol stands by the elevator banks, Clutching her tablet tightly to her chest, she feels the heat of the humiliation radiating across the room like a wave. Her eyes lock onto Oliver, who is wringing out the rag with methodical precision. She wants to step forward, but fear roots her in place, freezing her legs. Why does the janitor's humiliation feel like a personal warning to everyone else? Grant turns to his VP, making a loud joke about the value of unskilled labor. The echo of their laughter bounces off the cold glass walls, amplifying the cruelty. Oliver wipes the floor, his movements precise and disturbingly calm. For a victim, he knows exactly where the blind spots in the surveillance cameras are located, but today, he stepped into the light on purpose, ensuring the lens saw everything. The footage is being archived in a server room 20 floors below them. Digital eyes witness what human hearts refuse to acknowledge or try to stop. Oliver cleans the last streak of water, his face a mask of total neutrality. He can hear the distinct voice of Grant Holloway fading as the elevator rises. Every insult is being filed away in his memory, catalogued for a future date. He is not just cleaning a floor, he is gathering evidence of a rot. Do you believe that everything we do in the dark eventually comes to light? Marisol finally moves, her heels clicking softly as she approaches the reception desk. She cannot shake the image of the man on his knees, taking the abuse. It reminds her of her father, of men who worked with their hands and backs. She feels a surge of anger that overrides her fear. For a brief moment she looks at the camera above her, wondering who watches the watchers. Is there anyone left in this building who cares about what is right? The technology is neutral, but the people controlling it are deeply flawed. Oliver picks up the bucket, the handle digging into his calloused palm. Familiar, he walks toward the service corridor, disappearing into the gray unseen world. The bright lights of the lobby do not follow him into the narrow hallways. Here, in the veins of the building, the real work of the corporation happens. He passes other workers who keep their heads down, afraid to be noticed. They do not know that he is fighting a war on their behalf. Silently, the shadows are his armor, and silence is his weapon of choice. Grant arrives at the penthouse floor, already forgetting the incident in the lobby. To him, people like Oliver are merely background noise, static in his broadcast. He checks his reflection in the elevator chrome, adjusting his silk tie perfectly. He believes he is untouchable, protected by layers of money and corporate lawyers. He does not realize that the recording has already been flagged by the system. A small red light on a server rack blinks faster, processing the data. The digital footprint of his arrogance is now permanent and retrievable. Marisol types a quick note on her phone, documenting the time and the incident. It is a small act of rebellion, a way to keep a personal record. She doesn't know why she is doing it, only that she needs to remember. She glances at the spot where the water was, now dry and shining. The stain is gone from the marble, but not from her conscience. She resolves to speak to the janitor, to offer a human connection. But stepping out of line in this company is a dangerous game to play. The lobby clears out completely, leaving only the sharp scent of pine cleaner. Marisol lingers behind, pretending to check emails on her phone to buy time. She walks over to where Oliver is finishing the grim task near the wall. "I'm sorry about him," she whispers, her voice trembling slightly in the silence. Oliver looks up, and for a second, the mask of the simple janitor slips. She notices his badge is clipped upside down on his uniform pocket intentionally. The number on the back doesn't match the standard janitorial code. She knows. "It's just water, Miss Vance," Oliver says, his voice surprisingly cultured and deep. She freezes, realizing he knows her name without ever being formally introduced to her. How much does the invisible man actually see in the dark while we sleep? She glances at the badge again, memorizing the strange sequence of digits and letters. Oliver turns away, the moment of connection severed by the return of duty. But a seed of dangerous curiosity has been planted in her mind. Tonight she realizes he is not just a janitor, he is a watcher like her. He shouldn't treat people that way, she adds, feeling the need to say it. Oliver pauses, his back to her, and she sees his shoulders tense slightly. "Men like him treat the world as a mirror," Oliver says quietly. "They only see themselves, and break anything that blocks the view." He finishes. The poetry of his words startles her, contrasting with the mop in his hand. Who is this man who speaks like a philosopher and cleans like a servant? She feels a pull toward him, a mystery that begs to be solved. Oliver resumes his work, the rhythmic swish of the mop filling the air. He regrets speaking so freely, knowing it endangers the carefully constructed charade. But her kindness was a crack in the armor. He couldn't resist answering. He knows she is Marisol Vance, the one assistant who doesn't steal office supplies. He has watched her share her lunch with the security guards on night shift. He knows she is the only ally he might find in this glass fortress. But is it fair to drag her into the storm that is coming? Marisol turns to leave, her mind racing with questions she cannot ask, yet she looks back one last time, seeing him framed by the massive windows. The city lights outside create a halo around his solitary, working figure. He looks less like a janitor and more like a guardian of the tower. She touches her own badge, feeling the plastic edge against her thumb. The corporate world is built on labels, but his label seems to be wrong. What happens when you realize the labels are all lies? Oliver waits until she is gone before he flips his badge over correctly. He checks the time on a watch that is hidden beneath his sleeve. It is an expensive vintage piece, the only remnant of his past life. He has 4 hours until the next security rotation sweeps the executive floor. He needs to access the archives before the morning shift arrives to work. The encounter with Marisol was a risk, but perhaps a calculated one. Sometimes you need a witness to prove that you were there at all. He moves to the service elevator, swiping a key card that shouldn't work. The light turns green, granting him access to the restricted levels below. He is not just cleaning the building, he is infiltrating it from within. The janitor's keys open more doors than the CEO's password ever could. He descends into the belly of the beast, leaving the marble lobby behind. The real secrets are buried where the light of day never reaches, and tonight, he plans to dig one of them up from the grave. Morning brings a memo that circulates through every department email inbox at dawn. Grant has instituted a cleanliness efficiency policy effective immediately for all staff. It is a thinly veiled excuse to punish the cleaning staff for his mess. Janitors must now wear bright orange vests for visibility and safety at all times. It is a badge of shame designed to strip away dignity and subtlety. Marisol reads the memo and feels a wave of nausea rise in her throat. She sees Grant in his glass office, laughing on a conference call. He is addicted to the feeling of his boot on a neck. Pressing down, Oliver puts on the orange vest without a single word of complaint or resistance. He stands in the hallway, a beacon of neon in the gray corporate palette. Does Grant realize he just painted a target on himself by doing this? The staff avoids Oliver's gaze, afraid to be associated with the marked man, but the vest makes Oliver invisible in a new, highly useful way. He is now part of the infrastructure, ignored by everyone like a traffic cone. Marisol walks past him, her eyes flashing with a silent, burning apology. Oliver meets her gaze and gives a barely perceptible shake of his head. He wants her to stay away, to protect her from the fallout. The vest actually helps him. It makes people look through him, not at him. He moves through the executive wing, emptying trash bins with practiced efficiency. He listens to snippets of conversations, gathering intel on the upcoming merger. The orange vest is the perfect camouflage for a spy in plain sight. Grant walks by, flanked by lawyers, and doesn't even glance at Oliver. The vest suits you, a junior executive sneers, trying to impress the boss. Oliver merely nods, suppressing the urge to speak the truth aloud. He knows that pride is a luxury he cannot afford until the endgame. He focuses on the papers on the desk. As he changes the liner, he spots a memo about asset liquidation that confirms his worst fears. The company is being sold for parts, and the employees will suffer. Marisol sees the interaction and clenches her fists at her sides tightly. She hates the culture of bullying that Grant has cultivated in the office. She wants to rip the vest off Oliver and tell them who he is, but she doesn't know who he is, not really, just that he matters. She realizes that she is becoming radicalized by the injustice she witnesses daily. Is it better to keep your job or to keep your soul intact? The choice is becoming harder to make with each passing hour. Oliver finishes the floor and retreats to the supply closet to think. The orange vest is a symbol of Grant's pettiness, but also his blindness. Grant assumes that humiliation breaks a man, but sometimes it sharpens him. Oliver checks his reflection in the bucket surface. Seeing the neon reflection, he looks ridiculous, but he feels more dangerous than he ever has. The time for observation is ending. The time for action is drawing near. He hides the intel he gathered inside the lining of the vest. The day ends, and the office lights dim, leaving only the cleaning crew. Oliver takes off the vest, folding it neatly on the shelf. It is a uniform of war now, and he will wear it until victory. He thinks of Marisol's kindness and knows he must insulate her from this, but destiny has a way of weaving threads together that cannot be separated. The board meeting is approaching, and the stakes are rising every second. Grant believes he has won, which is exactly why he will lose. The mailroom in the basement is a labyrinth of paper and secrets. Late at night, the automated sorting machines hum their rhythmic, hypnotic song. A courier delivers a thick, sealed envelope marked confidential. Board eyes only. It is misrouted, sliding into the bin for facilities management by a machine error, or was it a mistake? Fate plays strange games in this glass tower. Oliver is collecting the recycling when he spots the heavy cream envelope. He recognizes the wax seal of the founding family's private trust immediately. His heart hammers against his ribs as he picks it up with trembling hands. He knows he should put it back in the correct chute for delivery, but the name on the return address triggers a buried, painful memory. He slides the envelope inside his orange vest, pressing it against his chest. The weight of the paper feels like a loaded gun against his heart. What if the weapon you needed fell right into your hands tonight? He looks around, ensuring the cameras in the mailroom are pointed away. He retreats to a corner where the shadows are deep and the air is still. The envelope smells of old money and legal precision, a scent he knows. He runs his thumb over the seal, debating the ethics of the breach. If he opens it, there is no going back to being just a janitor, but if he leaves it, Grant will destroy everything his family built. He takes a deep breath, the decision forming like crystal in his mind. Sometimes you have to break the law to save the spirit of justice. Marisol is working late upstairs, oblivious to the discovery below her feet. She feels a strange tension in the building, a vibration in the air. She wonders where Oliver is, if he has gone home for the night. She has started looking for him, a habit she can't seem to break. She doesn't realize that he is currently holding her future in his hands. The connection between them is tightening, drawn by invisible forces. Do you believe that some people are destined to change each other's lives? Oliver tucks the envelope deeper into his uniform, buttoning the jacket tight. He cannot open it here. The risk of discovery is far too high. He needs a place that is truly off the grid, a blind spot. He thinks of the boiler room, the heart of the building's heat. It is the only place Grant Holloway would never dream of visiting. He begins the long walk through the basement corridors, moving silently. The secrets of the past are about to crash into the present. As he walks, he passes the portrait of the company founder in the hall. The old man's eyes seem to follow him, judging his every move. Oliver pauses and nods to the painting, a gesture of respect and promise. I will fix it, he whispers to the canvas and the empty hallway. He is not stealing the company, he is reclaiming it from the thieves. The envelope burns against his skin, a brand of responsibility he accepts. He pushes open the heavy steel door and steps into the darkness. Oliver sits in the boiler room, the only place without security cameras. He slices the envelope open with a small pocket knife. Hand steady. Inside is the original board contract from the company's inception decades ago. He scans the dense legal text, his eyes moving rapidly across the lines. Clause 14b stands out, highlighted in a faint, aged ink on the page. In the event of ethical breach, the silent shareholder takes control immediately. The silent shareholder's identity is encoded, but Oliver has the cipher key. He realizes the power structure of the company is a lie built on sand. Grant is not the king, he is merely a tenant facing eviction. Marisol comes down to the basement looking for archived files for Grant. She finds Oliver staring at the document, his face pale and ghostly. You shouldn't be here, he says, folding the papers quickly to hide them. What is that? She asks, stepping into the dim, yellow light. The choice to share the secret is the choice to endanger her life. She sees the fear in his eyes, but also a fierce, burning resolve. It's the truth, he admits, deciding to trust her with the burden. He hands her the document, his hand brushing against hers. In the exchange she reads the clause, her eyes widening as the legal jargon clicks. This changes everything, she whispers, looking up at him in shock. It only changes things if we use it, Oliver replies, his voice grim. Are you brave enough to hold the match that burns the kingdom down? Grant would kill for this, she says, the reality of the danger sinking in. He might try, Oliver says, and she realizes he is not joking. She looks at the janitor and sees the executive he was born to be. The transformation is subtle, a shift in posture, a hardening of the jaw. She realizes she is standing in a bunker with the true owner. I can help you, she says, the words leaving her mouth before she thinks. I have access to the digital files you need to prove the breach, she adds. Oliver looks at her, really looks at her. For the first time he sees not just an assistant, but a partner, a warrior in disguise. If we do this, there is no going back, Marisol, he warns her. I don't want to go back, she answers, her voice gaining strength. I hate what this place has become under him, she confesses softly. They stand together in the hissing steam of the boiler room. A pact is sealed, not with a handshake, but with a shared secret. They meet on the roof, under the hum of the massive HVAC units. The city skyline glows around them, indifferent to their plight and smallness. Oliver shows Marisol a copy of the clause, keeping the original safe elsewhere. This means Grant can be removed, she breathes, reading the text again. It means more than that, Oliver corrects, looking at the distant horizon. It means the company has been stolen for the last 5 years. He reveals trust forms in the space between them, fragile but undeniable. And necessary. She sees the intelligence in his eyes, the weariness of a long war. He sees the courage in her, the way she stands her ground against wind. I can get the financial records to prove the breach, she offers bravely. It's too dangerous, Oliver warns, stepping closer to her in the cold. Grant destroys anyone who crosses him, she whispers back, shivering slightly. Not everyone, Oliver says, a dark promise vibrating in his low voice. Are you willing to risk your career for the truth you found? The wind whips her hair across her face, but she doesn't move. I'm tired of being afraid of him, she says, her voice steady now. Oliver feels a surge of admiration that is dangerously close to affection. He takes off his jacket and places it around her shoulders gently. It is a gesture of protection, but also of intimacy in the night. We need to time this perfectly, he says. Shifting into tactical mode, the shareholder meeting is the only stage big enough, he decides. Marisol nods, understanding the magnitude of the public spectacle required. I can smuggle the data into the presentation server, she strategizes. But you have to be the one to present it, she tells him. I will be, Oliver promises, staring at the lights of the city. They are two ants plotting to topple a giant, but they have leveraged. The board contract is the fulcrum, and they are ready to push. Have you ever felt the thrill of a plan that could change the world? They stand in silence for a moment, the city breathing below them. It is a moment of calm before the hurricane that is coming. Oliver looks at Marisol and wonders if he has the right to ask this, but he knows he cannot do it alone. He needs her access. We start tomorrow, he says, turning back toward the roof access door. Tomorrow, she agrees, clutching his jacket closer to her body. The conspiracy has begun, and there is no turning back now. Grant paces in his office, a predator sensing a shift in the wind. He calls security, demanding a review of the basement logs. Immediately someone was down there, he barks, his paranoia spiking like a fever. He feels eyes on him, a phantom pressure he can't explain or locate. He doubles the security detail on the executive floor. Creating a fortress, he orders IT to monitor all outgoing emails for keywords like contract. Marisol sits at her desk, typing with trembling fingers, feeling the net tighten. She can feel Grant's gaze on the back of her head, burning. Oliver mops the hallway outside, the rhythm slow and steady and deceptive. Grant walks out and kicks the wet floor. Sign over in frustration. Work faster, he sneers, needing to exert dominance again to feel safe. Oliver picks up the sign, his eyes meeting Grant's reflection in the glass. The CEO shudders involuntarily, a chill running down his spine. Suddenly the hunter is beginning to realize he might be the prey after all. Grant stops, looking at the janitor with a sudden, dawning suspicion. Have I seen you before? He asks, narrowing his eyes at Oliver. I am just the help, sir, Oliver replies, his voice flat and empty. Grant snorts and walks away, dismissing the intuition that could save him. But the seed of doubt has been planted in the CEO's mind. He retreats to his office, pouring a drink with shaking hands. Why does the janitor's calmness terrify him more than a threat? Marisol watches the interaction, holding her breath until Grant is gone. She signals Oliver with a tiny nod, confirming the data is ready. The tension in the office is thick enough to choke on. Every phone ring sounds like an alarm. Every glance feels like an accusation. Oliver moves his cart down the hall, hiding a hard drive in the trash. The transfer of data has physically begun, moving under Grant's nose. How close can you get to the fire before you get burned? Grant calls his lawyers, shouting about leaks and spies in the company he is unraveling, his confidence eroding with every passing hour. He senses that the walls are closing in, but he doesn't know why. Oliver listens from the closet, hearing the desperation in Grant's voice. It is the sound of a tyrant who knows his reign is ending. The psychological warfare is working, softening the target for the kill. But the most dangerous animal is the one that is cornered. The annual shareholder meeting is moved up by 2 weeks. Suddenly Grant wants to solidify his position before the quarter ends, and panic spreads. He plans to announce a merger that will dissolve the legacy contract forever. If he succeeds, Clause 14B will become null and void legally. Oliver and Marisol have only 48 hours to act before it's over. We have to do it during the live stream, Oliver decides firmly. It's the only way to ensure the public sees the truth uncensored. Marisol has to smuggle the digital evidence into the presentation deck. The building is locking down, security sweeping every room for bugs. Grant is rehearsing his speech, practicing his winning smile in the mirror. The tension in the air is electric, a storm about to break. Oliver sheds his janitor uniform in the locker room for the last time. Underneath, he wears a suit that has been hidden for years in plastic. It fits him like armor, transforming his silhouette completely and instantly. He looks in the mirror and sees the man he was supposed to be. The janitor is gone. The heir has returned to claim his birthright. He adjusts his cuffs, the silver links catching the harsh fluorescent light. Marisol is already upstairs, sweating as she bypasses the firewall. She is the digital key, he is the physical hammer. Together they are about to break the machine that Grant built. Who is the man in the mirror staring back with cold eyes? Grant steps onto the stage for the sound check, testing the microphone. Testing, 1, 2. Power, he says, loving the sound of his voice. He does not know that the teleprompter has already been compromised. Oliver moves through the service corridors, a ghost in a suit. He carries the physical contract in his inside pocket, next to his heart. The time for hiding is over, the time for revelation is now. He walks toward the stage wings, checking his watch one last time. Marisol is cornered in the server room by the head of security. Grant wants to see your tablet, the guard demands roughly, blocking the door. She clutches it to her chest, her heart hammering wildly against her ribs. It's personal data. She lies, backing away toward the wall of servers. The guard reaches for it, his hand closing on her wrist painfully. Suddenly, the lights in the server room cut out completely, plunging into darkness. A struggle in the dark, the sound of a body hitting the floor. Silence returns, heavy and terrifying in the pitch black of the room. The emergency lights flicker on, bathing the room in a bloody red glow. The guard is unconscious, zip-tied to a server rack, slumped over. Oliver stands there, adjusting his cuffs, his face grim and dangerous. Go, he tells her, get to the control booth now, run. She runs, realizing she never really knew Oliver at all until now. Betrayal creates the perfect distraction for the real strike to land. Are you okay? He asks, his voice softening for just a second. She nods, breathless, looking at the unconscious guard with wide eyes. He won't wake up for an hour, Oliver assures her calmly. You learned that in janitor school? She asks, a hysterical laugh escaping. I learned that protecting what is mine, he answers enigmatically. He pushes her gently toward the door, urging her to move. The clock is ticking, and the live stream is about to begin. Marisol sprints down the hallway, the drive burning in her hand. She reaches the control booth just as the producer calls for places. She slides into her seat, plugging the drive into the main console. The upload bar begins to fill, agonizingly slow on the screen. She prays that the security protocols don't flag the foreign device. Oliver waits in the wings of the stage, watching Grant fix his tie. The trap is set, all that remains is to spring it. The live stream begins, broadcasting to millions of investors around the globe. Grant stands on stage, bathed in applause and golden, flattering light. He speaks of profit, of future, of his own brilliance and vision. Backstage, Oliver moves through the shadows like a avenging ghost. Security is distracted by a false alarm on the lower levels. Effectively, Marisol plugs the drive into the main broadcast terminal, fingers flying. Her hands shake as she overrides the teleprompter feed with the code. Grant pauses mid-sentence, his eyes widening in confusion at the text. The screen behind him flickers, static replacing the slick corporate graphics. Surveillance footage appears. The spill, the kick, the sneer in HD. The audio of his cruel laughter booms through the auditorium speakers. The audience gasps, the sound rippling like a wave across the room. Grant freezes, his carefully crafted mask beginning to crack under pressure, but the real blow hasn't even landed on him yet. He looks around wildly, trying to signal the booth to cut the feed. Technical difficulties, he stammers, sweat breaking out on his forehead. But the footage continues, showing him berating staff, stealing credit. It is a montage of his worst moments, played for the world. The investors start murmuring, phones raised to record the disaster. Grant yells at the sound engineer, losing his composure entirely. He looks small, petty, and cruel, the opposite of a leader. Marisol watches the upload complete, a grim satisfaction in her heart. She has exposed the tyrant, but the king has yet to appear. She cues the next slide. The board contract, Clause 14b. The legal text fills the massive screen, looming over Grant. The crowd goes silent, reading the words that spell his doom. Grant turns and sees the document, his face draining of all color. He knows that his reign is over, but he refuses to believe it. Oliver walks onto the stage, no longer the janitor in the shadows. He wears the suit, but he carries the mop bucket in his hand. The visual contradiction stuns the crowd into absolute, confused silence. Grant laughs nervously. Security, remove this clown immediately. Read the contract, Grant. Oliver's voice booms over the mic clearly. Marisol projects Clause 14b onto the massive screen for all to see. The silent shareholder is Oliver Keene, she announces to the room. The name ripples through the room, investors checking their phones frantically. Oliver drops the bucket, the loud clang echoing like a gavel strike. He pulls the original contract from his jacket pocket, unfolding it slowly. "You work for me," Oliver says, his voice ice cold and authoritative. The cameras zoom in on Grant's face as he reads the clause. The color drains from him, leaving him gray and small and defeated. The document is read aloud, every word a nail in the coffin. "This is a joke," Grant tries to say, but his voice fails him. "The joke is over," Oliver replies, stepping into the spotlight. He looks at the investors, his demeanor calm and commanding. "This man has violated the core ethics of this company," Oliver states, and under Clause 14b, his authority is hereby revoked. He declares. The flashbulbs explode like fireworks, capturing the moment of transfer. The janitor has just fired the CEO on live television. Grant looks for his lawyers, but they are already checking their phones. They know a losing battle when they see one, and they retreat. Oliver stands alone at the podium, the mop bucket at his feet. It is a symbol of where he came from, and what he values. He is not ashamed of the work, he is ashamed of the leadership. "We are going to clean this company up," he tells the camera, and for the first time in years, the shareholders believe it. The stock ticker on the screen freezes as trading halts automatically. Panic and excitement explode in the room simultaneously, a chaotic mix. Reporters shout questions, flashes popping like lightning in a storm. Grant tries to grab the microphone, but it's cut off by Marisol. Security guards rush the stage, but they stop halfway. Confused, they look at Oliver, then at Grant, unsure who to obey. Now the board is dissolved, Oliver declares, his authority absolute and final. He looks at the camera, addressing the world directly without fear. "Decency is the new currency of this company," he states firmly. Marisol watches from the wings, tears in her eyes. Exhausted, Grant falls to his knees, not in prayer, but in total defeat. The identity reveal is complete. The janitor is the king returned, but the weight of the crown is heavy and instant on Oliver. The world loves a hero, but Wall Street hates uncertainty and change. Oliver navigates the chaos, his eyes seeking out Marisol in the dark. He needs to know she is safe, that she is still with him. Grant is screaming silent curses, a mime in a glass box. The live feed cuts to black, but the story is already viral. The janitor CEO is trending globally within minutes. Oliver feels the adrenaline crash, leaving him hollow and tired. He has won the war, but the battle for peace is just starting. Security finally makes a choice, surrounding Grant instead of Oliver. They escort the former CEO off the stage, his resistance futile. Oliver watches him go, feeling no joy, only a grim necessity. He picks up the mop bucket one last time, handing it to a guard. "Put this in the boardroom," he orders, as a reminder. The symbol of his humiliation has become the symbol of his power. Transformation is rarely clean, it is messy and loud. In the chaotic aftermath, the boardroom is silent again. At last Oliver stands at the head of the table, looking out the window. Marisol enters, but she stays near the door, distant and unsure. "You own it all," she says softly, "you always did own it." "I had to hide to see the truth," Oliver replies, turning. He looks at her, the power dynamic shifted once more between them. "I couldn't have done it without you," he admits with honesty. "But you lied to me too," she says, the hurt visible in eyes. Love collides with the duty of his new position and wealth. He walks to her, offering his hand, "Not as a boss but man, stay with me. Help me build it right this time," he pleads. She looks at his hand, then at the contract on the table. Can romance survive the revelation of such a massive secret lie? She takes his hand, but her grip is tentative and testing. "I need to know who you really are," she whispers to him. "I am the man who mopped the floors," Oliver says simply. That part was real. The humility was real, he insists. She searches his face, looking for the truth in his gray eyes. She sees the fatigue, the hope, and the love she felt before. "Okay," she says, squeezing his hand, "we build it right." The trust is cracked, but kintsugi makes broken things beautiful. They stand together overlooking the city that Oliver now commands. The glass tower feels different now, less like a cage. "What happens to Grant?" she asks, looking at the empty chair. "He learns what it's like to start at the bottom," Oliver says. "If he's lucky," he adds, a hard edge returning to his voice. "Mercy is a virtue, but justice is a requirement for leadership." They have a long road ahead, but they are walking it together. Grant is escorted out of the building by the same security team. He carries a cardboard box, his expensive coat ruined and stained. He passes the spot where he kicked the bucket over days ago. There is no one there to mock him, only silence and memory. Oliver watches from the glass tower above, feeling no joy in it. Justice has been served, but the cost was 5 years of life. He sees the cleaners working in the lobby below, looking up. He knows their names now, their stories, their struggles. their families. He signs the first executive order of his tenure with a flourish. It is not a merger, but a redistribution of shares to staff. The press calls him a radical, the workers call him a savior, but Oliver only feels the exhaustion of the long game ending. He looks at Marisol, who is organizing his new schedule efficiently. The victory is hollow if he loses the only real thing he found. He calls the head of maintenance and orders new uniforms. No more orange vests, he says, give them dignity. It is a small change, but it signals a new era. Grant stands on the curb, waiting for a taxi that doesn't come. He looks up at the penthouse, realizing what he threw away. He didn't just lose a job, he lost his humanity along the way, and Oliver Keene found his in the unlikeliest of places. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the lobby floor. Oliver walks down to the reception desk, just to stand there. He remembers the spill, the shame, the rage he felt. It feels like a lifetime ago, yet only days have passed. He touches the marble, cold and hard under his fingertips. He vows never to forget how the floor feels from your knees. Power is a test, and he intends to pass it every day. 6 months later, the company is transformed from the inside out. The orange vests are gone, replaced by respect and equity and pride. Oliver and Marisol walk through the lobby together, side by side. They do not hold hands, but their stride is synchronized and strong. Grant is a footnote in a business school case study on hubris. The board contract hangs framed in the lobby as a warning to all. Oliver stops at a spill on the floor, instinctively moving to it. A young janitor rushes over, looking terrified at the CEO's presence. It's okay, Oliver says, smiling, picking up the cloth himself. We clean it up together, he says, helping the young man wipe. The camera pulls back, showing the tower of glass and light glowing. It is no longer a monument to ego, but a beacon of hope. Power is not about who stands at the top of the stairs, it is about who is willing to kneel and do the work. The young janitor looks at Oliver with awe and new respect. Thank you, sir, he stammers, relieved and inspired by the act. Oliver stands up, brushing off his knees, still wearing his suit. Call me Oliver, he says, we are all on the same team. Marisol watches him, her heart full of love and admiration. She knows that he is the leader the world needs right now, the man who remembers the view from the floor, sees everything. As they walk out the doors, the city is waiting for them. The wind is cold, but they are warm in their purpose. The story of the janitor CEO has become a legend, but for Oliver and Marisol, it is just their life. They have built something that cannot be broken by greed, and in the reflection of the glass, they see their true selves. The tower stands tall, but its roots are finally deep. The tower still scrapes the sky, but the foundation has changed forever. Oliver Keene proved that the most dangerous person in the room is often the one you refuse to see. Justice didn't just arrive, it scrubbed the floor clean and rebuilt the house. But as Oliver and Marisol navigate this new world, they learn that trust, once broken by secrets, takes a lifetime to repair. The contract changed the company, but love changed them. They stand as proof that dignity is not a job title, but a choice. What secrets are hiding in your workplace? Watch closely. The next hero might be emptying your trash bin right now. If you believe in justice, hit that subscribe button. Like, share, and comment. I see you to support the invisible workers. Turn on notifications. The next story is already unfolding in the dark, and you won't want to miss the spark that lights the fire.